Imagine you're alone in your own home, only to realize that someone or something is watching you. What would you do? Would you confront it or run in terror? In today's chilling story, a Reddit user shares their terrifying experience of being stalked by something that couldn't possibly be real. But the nightmares didn't stop there. This isn't just another creepy encounter. This is a tale of obsession, fear, and a mystery that spans across time and space. Stay tuned and make sure you're alone, because this one will give you chills. Reddit user, the Watcher, is here posted one of the creepiest accounts on Reddit, an experience that would turn their entire life upside down. It all started one quiet evening when they moved into a new house, eager for a fresh start. But something wasn't right from the beginning. It started with the little things, the Watcher, Ishir writes. I had just moved in, unpacking boxes when I noticed it. A strange reflection in the window, something moving outside, but when I checked, there was no one there. At first, they dismissed it, thinking it was just the reflection of a tree or maybe the shadows from passing cars. But then things began to escalate, and fast. The first signs, the Watcher in the window. It began innocently enough. Late one night, the Watcher, here was sitting on the couch, trying to relax after a long day of moving. The house was silent except for the ticking of the clock and the occasional creak of the floorboards. I glanced up at the window and that's when I saw it again, they recall. A face, a pale face staring at me from outside. I jumped up, heart racing, but when I rushed to the window, there was no one there. The face was gone. They shook it off. It was just a trick of the light. But every time they turned their back, they felt the eyes on them, the feeling that someone or something was watching them, waiting. But it wasn't just the occasional glimpse in the window. No, it was much worse than that. Over the next few days, the Watcher is here, began to notice more signs. More signs that made them feel like they were not alone in the house. The sounds of a stalker. Late at night, they would hear the unmistakable sound of footsteps outside the door, soft and slow, as if someone was walking around the house. They would go to check, but every time they opened the door, no one would be there. The first few times, they thought it was just the house settling. But after a while, the footsteps became more deliberate, as though someone was pacing in the hallway just outside their door. I heard the footsteps again, but this time they were different, they write. It wasn't just random noise. It was purposeful, as if someone was waiting for me to notice them. I got up, I opened the door, and there was no one. Just the same emptiness. That's when the whispers started. They began hearing faint, almost inaudible voices in the walls, like someone was talking just beyond their reach. But when they tried to listen closer, it would stop, every time. Just a whisper, a distant murmur, always too quiet to understand. But it never stopped, always there, always waiting. The discovery, who's watching? As the days passed, the Watcher, Ishir's paranoia grew. The unease turned into dread. They couldn't shake the feeling that someone was in the house with them, watching their every move. It became unbearable, and they decided to investigate. They went through the attic, the basement, every nook and cranny of the house, looking for anything, any clue as to who might be responsible for the constant feeling of being watched. That's when they found it. Hidden behind a loose floorboard in the attic was a stack of old photographs. But these weren't just any photos. They were pictures of the Watcher is here. The user recognized the shots. Some were from their childhood, others from their current life, even moments they hadn't shared with anyone. The photos were taken from various places around the house, some even from windows, capturing them in their most private moments. They were being watched. For how long? They didn't know, but the discovery of the photos made it clear. This wasn't just a random stalker. This was something much, much darker. The final confrontation. The face behind the window. The more the Watcher, here thought about it, the more they began to piece it together. The photos, the footsteps, the whispers, it was all connected. But there was still one question they couldn't answer. Who was doing this? They stayed up that night, determined to catch whoever or whatever was watching them. They sat in the dark, waiting, listening for the sounds of movement, ready to confront whatever nightmare had been lurking in the shadows. And then they saw it, the face. But this time it wasn't outside the window. It was in the reflection of the glass door. As they turned to face it, the face moved closer. They could see the pale skin, the hollow eyes, and the twisted smile. But before they could react, the figure disappeared. It was then they realized the watcher wasn't a person at all. It was a presence, something ancient, something that thrived on fear and obsession, something that had been watching them their entire life. The aftermath, the price of the haunting. That night, you, the watcher, Ishir left the house. They never returned. The house stood empty, but the whispers still echoed in their mind. No matter where they went, no matter how far they traveled, they could still feel the eyes on them, watching, waiting. Some stories aren't meant to have a happy ending. Some things never leave. What do you think? Was this just the work of a twisted mind? Or is there something out there, something that waits, watching? Thank you for joining us for today's creepy tale. If you enjoyed this terrifying encounter, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update from Creepy Reddit Runs. And remember, keep your windows locked. You never know who might be watching.